Sometimes the simplest Christmas DIYs end up being the ones you enjoy the most. Today, I am sharing 3 that I think are worth making. You tell me if you agree. Hi, I'm Loli. Let's create something beautiful and find a little joy along the way. For this project, I'll be using one of these wood ranks from the Dollar Tree. We're removing that tag and that cord and painting it with 2 coats of rust-oleum and white chalk paint. Then I got these stencils from Temu. I actually got them free with a different purchase. I'm going to use this one that has the trees. But first, I'm going to take some masking tape and measure the center of, when I'm not measuring, eyeballing the center of the wood round. And I'm just going to tape off that section. Then I took this Merry Christmas stencil as well from the same pack. And I'm going to add it to the top section here and the tree one here to the bottom. And measuring exactly that everything fits. And once I'm happy with it, you're going to go ahead and tape down these stencils as well. But first, I'm going to paint the bottom black. And now we're going to remove the tape and position our stencils with some tape as well. That just helps the stencil stay in place so that way nothing moves as we are bouncing. Here I lost the footage. I just pretty much just took a dauber and I pound some black not Rust-Oleum, 4 carts black chalk paint onto the stencil. And now we are going to reveal a nice clean stencil. However, it had all those lines all over it, but it's okay. We're going to fix it in a little while. First, I'm going to position the bottom stencil here. Again, tipping it down, making sure that all the edges are lined up in the bottom. And then I'm going to take my white Rust-Oleum Linen White Chalk paint and a bouncer or a dauber and paint all of those areas. I'm doing the circles and the trees. If you see there, I'm using very little paint. I am making sure to remove any excess paint on the cover of my paintbrush, and that is what it looked like once it was all covered. Then I took a small paintbrush and I'm going to paint in all those little lines that the stencil left behind, just so this looks a bit more finished. The trick is to use very little paint and to make sure that your edges of your brush are pretty even. This is what it looked like. Now we're coming in with some of this moss color from Waverly and a fan brush. And I'm just brushing on that paint over all of the tree portions. But if you notice here, I'm doing it in an angle. So it looks like it's branches coming down on the tree. And I did this also while the white paint was still wet. So that way we'll have a nice effect right there. I wanted to have different tones of green. So I came in with this green color from Dollar Tree, and it is a bit more pigmented and bright than the other one. So I'm just going to go ahead and dab it on using the edges of the fan brush. Again, trying to stay in an angle so it looks like it's branches going down. And I did that very lightly, mixing both of the green colors until I was happy with the result. Then I took my white dauber, or the dauber with some white paint, and I'm adding that white paint on all of the peak areas of all of the trees, just using the edge of the dauber and offloading most of the paint onto the cover just to give it that snowy peak effect. And I did that with all of them. And I also added a little bit to the body. Then I'm coming in again with that brush just to blend it a bit so it doesn't look so white. I just kept going back and forth with these colors until I was happy and I had a nice variety and depth. For more detail, I came in with the fan brush with some white on the edges as well. And then I just did the peaks with the fan brush there pretty much in a vertical position. And then I came in a horizontal position to add some onto the tree so you have the effect of snow coming down in the main portions of the tree as well. Look how cool that effect is. I love it. Now we're going to remove that stencil and look how cute that's looking. Some of the circles did bleed a bit, so I'm going to come in with some black 4-card chalk paint and cleaned off the edges of the circles. Didn't make them perfect because no snowflake is equal, right? So I'm just doing that. Then I came in with this gold paint pen from Apple Barrel and lined all of the edges of the word Merry. And look how cute that's looking, but I'm not done yet. I took a ruler and I left about a 1/4 inch or less of space between the white and the black on here and used my gold paint pen to go ahead and paint in that line. And I think this brought it all together. Then we're gonna take the same paint pen and line all of our little snowflakes here to also bring in that beautiful shine from that gold paint pen. Look how pretty this is coming out, but I'm not done yet. I'm going to take a white paint pen and I just want to accentuate the edges of all of the trees. So I just did the paint pen on all of the edges just to bring it out and bring more dimension as well. And I also painted the bottom section at the wood round that was black. Then we take in some silver paint pen and I'm lining over, not over, but right next to, close to the white, just to bring more sparkle to this. Then I decided that I wanted to make the trees a bit brighter. So I came in with a small brush and a little of that small, that green paint from Ollie's in the color, I think it's Kelly green. After I positioned a hanger, a bead hanger on it, I decided that I needed a little more. So I took one of these rings from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint it gold with this Krylon paint and position it right here as a frame. I thought this was the perfect finishing touch. Then I'm going to add some Tide Bond, quick and thick, to the entire perimeter of the wood round and position the ring right there. We're going to clamp it and let it sit until that glue dries, and then that is it. And let me know in the comment section what you think about this wood round. I love it. I took that wooden round from Dollar Tree, glued a piece of floral foam on top of it, and then glued one of these cylinders from the Dollar Tree onto that. I apologize, I lost the footage. All right, so then once I did that, I took some of this frosted eucalyptus that I got from Dollar Tree some years back, and I'm going to cut them into individual pieces, and I'm going to put one on the four sides of the floral foam. I wanted to add some height to this, so I bent the stem as you see there, so that way the eucalyptus will be looking up and it will be like a wispy kind of look to it. And I repeated this process with the other two sides. Then I'm going to take eucalyptus pieces and put them in the middle of those two, kind of like in the corners of the floral foam, just to make this a bit fuller. My friend, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to hit that like button. And while you're there, let me know in the comment section where you're watching from. I love to know how far my videos are reaching. And share, because sharing is caring and it helps my channel grow. Thank you so much. And this is looking so beautiful already. But I'm not done yet. We have a lot of florals. And we're going to use these champagne colored flowers from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to put them in between two of the eucalyptus. So I'm going to put it pretty much in four corners of this arrangement. I love these. I got these years back from Dollar Tree and I haven't gotten them since. I can't get myself to pay that $1.75, but I think I'm going to have to. All right, so here is how they looked once I had this four of them in there. And you can stop here and put some moss around your floral foam and be done, because at this point it looks so beautiful. But I wanted to go a little bit further and I might scale back later on, but for now, we're going to use this pine pieces with some berries that we got also from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 4 pieces of these, and I'm going to position them in between two of the eucalyptus. Like you see how I have two eucalyptus bunched together there in between the peonies. So in between of those two, I'm putting these florals, and I'm also bending it upwards so they all have this wispy look to them, just with different textures and colors. And look how elegant that is looking. I am loving it. But of course, I had to go further. I kind of wish I would have stopped here, but you let me know when I'm done if you like the finished product. It came out a little bit more wild than I was envisioning, but I think it's still beautiful. But we're going to use some of these fern. They're frosted. They also came from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to cut them into individual pieces. And we are going to put it right here where the greenery is towards the bottom, just to add a little bit more height and some wispiness to this as well. Wispiness? I guess I came up with a new word. Anyway, we're going to position it right here in the 4 corners. And I think they look great here, but I wanted to go further. So I decided to add more. So we're going to add some more of the eucalyptus here. I'm just putting them in different places, just covering up the green floral foam that you can see on the sides. And at this point, it's having more of a woodland theme, and I'm loving it because that is the theme that I'm going for this year. I added another piece of fern right here, and that is it for this one. Let me know in the comment section what do you think about this project. I absolutely love it. Today's video is part of the Wood Round or Read Wednesday, and this is a collaboration in which we create home decor using wood rounds and reed forms, and it is hosted on the fourth Wednesday of every month by my friend Aurea from DIY with Aurea, myself Loli from Lily's Creations, and this month we have the privilege of having the amazing Clarice from Clarice Creations Part 2. The link to our channels and the playlist will be linked in the description box below, so make sure to head on over and show everyone some love. For this one, we'll be using one of these wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. We're going to remove the hanger and put it to the side because we will be using it later in the project. Then I'm going to paint this with 2 coats of Rust-Oleum Linen White chalk paint. Once it dries, I'm going to take some masking tape and find the middle of my project and tape it down. I'm going to make sure that this is adhered properly so I have no bleeds. And also make sure that everything is nice and straight. I'm going to just bend it over this way so I have no paint hitting that area, and then we're going to cover that section with some Mod Podge. Then I'm going to take this tissue paper, and after the Mod Podge has dried, I took a piece from the black and white section of the tissue paper, and we're going to remove the masking tape there. And I'm going to line up the edge of my tissue paper with the edge of the shininess that the Mod Podge left behind. Then I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper, and once I make sure there were no wrinkles on my tissue paper, I'm going to put the parchment paper over that and then take my heat press and run it against the entire surface. Being very careful to not wrinkle the bottom tissue paper as I'm doing this. And I'm starting with the middle and then working my way out. And I'm making sure that I'm adhering it very well on the edges as well so I have no lifting. Next, I'm going to take my sieve sander and I'm going to go ahead and begin sanding this off of the edges. I'm just going to be doing a downward motion until the paper is removed from this entire section. I found that this is the cleanest and easiest way to get a nice edge. Next, I took some of these little people, I keep calling them little people, but gingerbread men from Dollar Tree. It comes in a pack of 8, and we will be using 5. I'm going to line it up like you see there, and I'm going to paint it with nutmeg brown from Apple Barrel. After giving it 2 coats, I'm taking some of this jute twine that I got from the Dollar Tree some years back, and I'm going to just go ahead and burn off the fuzzies before using it. Next, I'm going to position this underneath of my little gingerbread man. Here, I'm trying to figure out exactly where I'm going to put it, so I added a little bit of hot glue right here at the edge and tack that piece down because that's where it's going to start at. And then from here, I'm going to slowly remove my gingerbread man and glue this twine down in a way that it looks like it's natural, like they're kind of hanging off the jute twine on there. So I'm placing it down, trying to keep the same arrangement that I had in the beginning. So here I'm just making sure that it's fitting naturally. And once I'm happy with how everything is falling, we're going to begin gluing things down. I'm going to start by adding hot glue right here to the middle because I just kind of kept everything centered. I figured it was a lot easier to control the twine that way. And then we are going to do the edge right here to make sure that both sides are even. Then I just lifted the other areas and added hot glue right underneath and pressed it down, making sure that everything stayed nice and straight, or not straight, but curved exactly the way I wanted it. And now we're going to come in with a combination of hot glue and Tide Bond Quick and Thick and glue our little man. Here in the first one, I forgot about the Tide Bond, but I'm going to add it to the other ones. So we're going to start with the Tide Bond first because the hot glue dries a lot quicker than the Tide Bond does. So always use your glue that takes longer first and then the hot glue last, so that way you don't have the hot glue be dry quicker and then it defeats the purpose. Anyway, so now we're going to go ahead and if you see here, I'm adding the Tide Bond to the feet to make sure that that stays in place. And I did that until I had all of the pieces back in place, as you see right here, and I'm gluing them as if they're hanging from their hands. Then I'm going to just go ahead and trim off the excess jute cord from both of the sides. Then I took another piece of jute cord and I was going to use it as a hanger, and I ended up doing it. But later on, you'll see that I come in and change that. But for now, it's going to stay that way. Now we're going to take some of this, we're going to take one of these pen pens from Apple Barrel, and we are going to fill in each one of the gingerbread men. We're just going to do squiggly lines all along the perimeter of each one of these. For the eyes and mouth, I went with this puffy paint that I got from Dollar Tree. And we are going to just go ahead and put in the faces of each one of these little gingerbread men. I just did 2 dots for the eyes and then just a smiley face, and I did it with all of them. Now we're going to come in with some ribbon. I felt like I needed something there between the two paper and the surface of the wood round, so I decided to use this brown ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut it to the size that I need and then just burn off the ends. That way I avoid any fraying. And we're going to glue it using some hot glue. I just added, some right here at the edge first. I positioned my ribbon there. I did it a little bit longer because I wanted to have control over it. I wasn't sure if I was going to just fold it over to the sides, but I just added a couple of dots here and there. I didn't want the hot glue to be very prominent on the front of the ribbon, so I used it very sparingly. If you have a different type of glue, you can easily use that as well. The Tide Bond Quick and Take will work, or even Eileen's Tacky Glue. And we're going to go ahead and just do it all the way around and then press it down to make sure that it's nicely adhered. Here at this point, I decided that I wanted to just trim off the excess ribbon from here instead of folding it to the back in case I decide to do this as a double-sided sign at some point. And then I just cut off the excess there and then burn off the edges to avoid fraying. Then I cut these 2 pieces from my Cricut. It says hello and sweetness. I'm going to add the hello right here. I'm using permanent vinyl in a color brown. And I'm going to add this sweetness word right here in the middle of our tissue paper. And I'm just, making sure that it adheres properly and being very careful that the transfer paper does not pull up my tissue paper. So I'm just starting to do it very lightly on here. And then I'm going to come in with my brayer and smooth it down to make sure that it adheres nicely. And I repeated the same thing with the hello portion as well. After I was done, I decided that I needed to do a better hanger. So I took some of the jute cord and I'm threading in some of these red beads that I got from Dollar Tree onto there and tied it on. And that is it for this one. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, here are a couple more videos you are sure to enjoy. Thank you so much for stopping by. You're amazing. Bye.